What is going on, FA Nation? John and Pepe here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA MLB DFS Playbook live show. Got 12 games here on a Friday to end the work week for all of you. Make you some money. Build that bankroll heading into the weekend. Playbook is live. Got the DraftKings grid out there for you. We'll have the FanDuel grid updated after the live show here today. Ownership is updated on Slate. We got some weather updates to get to. And, of course, we're here to answer your questions and get you guys ready to build your lineups here at the end of the show. Grande, TGIF, my friend.
TGIFF. Multiple Fs.
Multiple Fs.
Multiple. TGIFF.
Thank God it's
effing Friday.
Yeah,
yup, that's the one.
That's the one. That's the one.
Ding, ding, ding. Not that it matters. Sports calendar doesn't end Monday through Sunday.
Grande's fan club's in here, Richard. Grande time.
Hell yeah, Richard's always in here.
Steven in here saying let's effing go on the effing theme.
Let's
go.
So
we're ready to go today. 12 games. We have a lot to talk about here. We're going to be rather repetitive on today's show. There's 3 games in particular that we are going to be focusing on. There are 3. There's 8 teams, probably 5 teams of those 3 games that will be more into than others. Yes, you'll hear us say the same teams, the same matchups a lot today. It's just kind of where the field is going. It's where we want to go. I will say I was at least a little surprised looking at ownership today. I did not expect Hunter Brown to be the most popular.
Big changes. Big changes.
Okay.
Wait until you see who the top owned pitcher of the day is.
Did not expect. Okay. Same theme. Did not expect to see ownership with Will Warren as your highest rostered pitcher on today's slate. I will defer. I will still allow the field to get to Will Warren at the highest rostered amount today. Alrighty then. Okay. Aaron Nola is the second highest rostered pitcher. We did expect that. We did think many people would be living in the mid-tier with us today. But I'll say, Randy Vasquez is getting 15-16% on.
That's where
there's some do not play list guys getting some ownership here today. That if people are playing those guys, we might be in luck today with our lineup builds. I'll tell you that right off the get here. So we do appreciate you, our guy. I see through you, Justin, in the chat. Anthony, of those 3 games highly owned? We'll find out. We'll see. I'll say this: if the top price pitcher is a Yankee, that means one of those teams is a top owned pitcher is a Yankee. Means one of those teams likely not as highly rostered. We'll just kick it off. Hunter Brown is $11,000 for 90% of today's day until the last hour, I guess. He was your highest rostered pitcher. That has since dropped down. He is still getting ownership. It's around 16%, but he's $11,000. Max Meyer, 10-2 here. No one was really playing him today. Still nobody really in on Max Meyer today. If spinning up, I didn't mind the pivot to Meyer given the matchup. The man has a 40 fantasy point game on his ledger already this season. So getting to Meyer at 10-2 over Brown at 11K if you need to save some money felt like the pivot to me. But given the ownership that we're looking at here, James, what's your take, I guess, on this pitching slate as a whole? Are you in agreement with where this ownership is right now? Will Warren, Aaron Nola, Sugano, Erod, and Brown are your top 5 rostered starting pitchers.
There's a lot to get into, obviously. I think that there's a good read on the slate as a whole in terms of why we are spending down at pitcher, right?
Yeah.
You can afford the Yankees that way. You can afford the Padres that way. You can afford the A's that way. You can afford the Orioles. Everyone's getting the Orioles today. You can afford the Brewers, right? Those teams that look really good, you can afford. I don't necessarily know if some of the names that are getting ownership are the ones that I would personally spend on. I can tell you, like, I don't have a lot of Hunter Brown today, and it's not because I don't think he's arguably been the top 5 pitcher in baseball, but
Yeah.
it's because I prefer the bats today in the spots that they're in, right? If you want
Yeah.
to play Hunter Brown and you prefer potentially getting 30 fantasy points that way in your lineup, then do it, right? I mean, he's a great pitcher. But I would say you're getting Hunter Brown plus mid-tier value pitcher plus one significant spend up bat, right? Whereas if the field, which just saw another update, I don't know what I'm looking at, but Gavin Williams getting a lot of ownership now.
Yeah, there's another update, right? So this is just kind of a fluid movement here. As the updates come through, and again, we'll have the final updates over at Fantasy Alarm. Will Warren dropped down again, no longer the guy. Aaron Nola now your top price again. This morning on the preview show, we expected Aaron Nola to probably be the top price starter, right? We went over the numbers with Cleveland, not great. Nola, his last 2 starts against Arizona, Chicago, lights out, 2 of the best offenses in baseball. He shut down, looking to form. We just didn't know where the field was going to go at the SP2. I can't imagine this stays the way it is. I can't imagine the top 2 price starting pitchers are in the same game when Aaron Nola and Gavin Williams, or when I say price, I mean ownership. That doesn't make any sense to me. So the SP2 ownership is fluid. The Nola ownership makes sense to me. I get Nola. He was locked into my lineups too. Going to continue to be locked into my lineups. But I want to figure out where the field is going so I can understand where I want to go with my SP2 today.
I do think, like, to an extent, the Gavin Williams stuff makes sense because he's too talented to be 6,800. He's just obviously been incredibly inconsistent. But, like, we've talked about it. You don't often get strikeout upside at that price, right? It just, like, is not a thing. You look at the rest of the tier. I think that's also the Will Warren ownership too, because even though Will Warren dropped, he's still in the top 5 of ownership. You look at the rest of the names, 7K and under. There is not one guy you can confidently tell me that would strike 5 players out tonight, 7K and under, except Will Warren and Gavin Williams.
Yeah.
And if they pitched above what they've pitched, and even looking at Will Warren, some of Will Warren peripheral numbers, incredibly unlucky stuff like sub 4 Sierra, sub 4 XFIP, 10 plus K per 9 this year. It's obviously just a terrible ballpark to pitch in. So, like,
yeah.
And he also has like a 50% ground ball rate. He just needs to throw strikes. He walks too many people. And
when he does allow a fly ball, he's allowing home runs.
Yeah. And that's obviously a concern. But, like, I get it from that perspective. But obviously, like, him and Gavin Williams both super inconsistent, not even like game to game, just like batter to batter inconsistencies. But I get it from, like, upside standpoint where those players have serious strikeout appeal. And I didn't mean to, like, skip down, but just like talking SP2 as a whole from an ownership standpoint, I get it, but they're inherent risk with both those pitchers.
Yep. And I mean, we were talking, our guy, Justin Carlucci in our group chat, he was saying like he was close to playing Gavin Williams today, just for, we talked about the elite strikeout upside, and that, you hope. I think he said he hopes he gets the 10 fantasy points or something like that out of them. And I mean, that's what you can certainly look for when you get these guys under 7K. We highlighted Sagano on the preview show, a guy that does not have good, really any strikeout outside of that Yankees start. But a guy that, 18 fantasy points against Cleveland, 27 in that Yankees start. Kansas City, he took a loss at almost 14. He takes the win. He's at 18 fantasy points there. So, against the Angels, a team that has struggled, if he gives you just what he gave you against Kansas City, but wins instead of loses, he's paying off the 7K price tag at 18 fantasy points there as well. So some value plays for sure. Steve wants to know our cash game plays today. Nola, yes. And then we liked Luis Castillo at $8,400. Yes. More people are playing Kevin Gausman than Luis Castillo. Gausman's 9K in that same game.
Dude, I am just like, it's putting my brain in a pretzel because, like, have we not watched Seattle's offense? Like, I get that there's a big ballpark up. I don't get what's happening. I don't. Seattle. Let's box some things off here, right?
Yeah, in this the box, last 2 weeks for Seattle offense, right?
Dude, this box over here, Seattle's offense, very good. This box right here, Toronto's offense, very bad. Like, they've been bad all year long against right-handed pitching. I'm not saying they've had the best luck, obviously. They have like 3, 4, I guess now. Varsho's been good. 4 good hitters in their lineup this year. And it should be better, but it hasn't been. You have Luis Castillo, good pitcher, cheap. Kevin Gausman, good pitcher, but like waves of like strikeouts to no strikeouts, to strikeouts to no strikeouts. More expensive, higher owned. What am I missing here? Like, I feel like Luis Castillo, of that 4 boxes, should be the first box I target. Like, bad offense versus good pitcher in good ballpark.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think Castillo looks better than Gausman. So if that's another, like, if that ends up being ownership and it ends up being a place where people just play Gausman over Luis Castillo, I will gladly take the discounted ownership and the discounted price on arguably a pitcher who's very similar, probably a little better over the past, 2 years. Yeah. I would give the edge to Luis Castillo.
I mean, 2 years ago, Kevin Gausman was really good. Last year, Gausman was hurt and struggled.
Yeah, last year and this year, just like combining the 2 years, I feel like Luis Castillo's been the better player.
Gausman is outside of the Yankees start. Realistically, he's been pretty decent. The Yankees start, he was actually good for 2 innings and then walked all 5 in the third, essentially.
Yeah.
But like the rest of his numbers haven't been awful. He's got 230 fantasy point games to his name. I mean, if you're talking about like baseline, yeah, Castillo's probably baseline better. But he had the one big blow up game, did Gausman, I think. Otherwise, their numbers would probably look pretty similar. But if you're talking about like current form teams, I'd rather pitch against Toronto than I'd rather pitch against Seattle. So I agree with you on a whole there. We didn't really spend a lot of time, and probably for good reason, but like Taillon, Martinez, Holmes, Dobbins, Roki, Hicks, Lorenzen. We just kind of skipped that whole tier on the preview show. Nothing has really changed my thoughts on these at all. Again, the matchups don't look great for these guys. Dobbins would be like maybe the slight consideration, but not at $7,700. Like, I don't want to spend that price.
No, I probably Nick Martinez has been pretty good and gets a super righty heavy offense with no Jordan. So that would probably be the only guy I'd look at, but I don't think it's anything I'd play. I do have some interest in Sugano, and I wonder what gives here because the Angels strike out a ton, and Sugano obviously has, like you mentioned, has had the one start with a bunch of strikeouts. And we talked about it. Never been a strikeout pitcher. In Japan, he wasn't a big strikeout pitcher, but he was just a good pitcher for a long time. Yeah. And 36 years old. This isn't like some rookie.
Yeah, he's here for like 2 years, you know, like, and he'll, but yeah, I mean, listen, his 4.5 K per 9 is less than ideal, but he only had like a sub 7 K per 9 in the KBO. So we weren't really expecting the strikeouts. If he can get any amount of strikeouts, though, 3 or 4, like you can almost work with that because he's pitching 7 innings. If he's pitching deep into games, it can limit the damage against. He can get the fantasy points that way. But we need the win. Have to have the win. So for that to happen,
got to keep the ball on the ground. Got to keep the ball on the ground too, because the only thing the Angels can do is hit home runs.
Yeah. Anything else?
I'm just trying to look at like what we have for ownership.
I did write up Quintana. I know you are not Quintana guy. We went over that on the preview show. All the numbers though still bear it out to be a pretty good play, and nobody is playing him. He is under 1% right now. So
doesn't surprise me.
I'm just saying. Yeah,
No, I get it. I hear you, John. I do. And I'm happy if your fantasy team gets 6 innings and 2 strikeouts and a quality start out of
Two
it.
strikeouts. He had 6
But
in back-to-back
$8,700. It's just like, I'm just not going here. I'm just not. I'm just not.
You and nobody is.
I know. I get 100%. It. Hell yeah, Fields.
More people are playing Randy Vasquez than they're playing Jose
Canseco. That is just the most criminal statement of all time.
All right. Anthony obviously is playing Nola, Phillies fan, but obviously the field is playing Nola. But fading Hunter Brown for Clay Holmes, there's a $3,000 difference there. Now, I think.
Now, this is DraftKings. This has to be a DraftKings question, too.
That's like a. And also, why would you pitch against the Cubs willingly?
It's not a bad point. I feel like there's just other names. Like, I would rather take a shot on any of that cheap stuff than play Clay Holmes today. One of Sugano, Will Warren, or Gavin Williams. I would rather play one of those three.
I don't even really understand. I would rather play, if you're looking to not play Hunter Brown, just play Max Myers 10% against the White Sox. Like, just play
if you're spending up,
if you're willing to spend up $11K for Hunter Brown, but don't want to play the chalk of Hunter Brown, then just play Max Meyer for 20% less ownership or something. 10% less ownership today. 50% is a better word, is what I was looking for there. So that's where I would go. I would still play Aaron Nola for sure. Anthony's been right a lot. Maybe Clay Holmes has unlocked the slate today. He goes and strikes a bunch of Cubs out. I would play Gausman. I'm okay playing Gausman.
Yeah.
It's obviously risky because of how good Seattle's been, but I would play Gausman. That's fine.
It's an obvious park upgrade. At the end of the day, it's an elite park upgrade.
And again, fewer people are playing Luis Castillo tonight. So if it's an ownership thing, you can just play Castillo at $8,400 and get low ownership in tournaments.
I know him and Holmes are like essentially the same ownership.
Yeah, one's facing a really bad Toronto offense. The other one's playing the Cubs. So
in a good ballpark.
All right, catcher. Speaking of good Cubs players, Babe Ruth Kelly, $5,800 up here. Kyle Raleigh's $5K. You can play Adley if you wanted to. He hasn't been good, but he's there. It's against Hendricks. I said it on the preview show. Like, just find this is where I want to spend down because I want to spend up elsewhere. You still have a really inexpensive Will Smith, in my opinion, at $4,100. You can play Salvi at $3,700. On your Diaz is great at $3,500 here. I know you like Martinez a little bit, or at least shutted him out a little bit there.
Wells 37.
Yeah, Austin Wells against Vito at $3,700, and then punting wise, Freddie Fermin's $2,400. Like, I would no problems paying it. I'm doing it so I can force Judge and Schwarber in. Yeah, that's fine. I just don't know if Holmes is the guy that I'm going to. So
you can get that a different way.
Yeah, there's got to be a different way to get it. It's just super risky with Holmes. He has some strikeout upside. Hasn't nearly struck out a lot of guys as a starter or as a reliever, but there's strikeout potential with him. It's the Cubs, man. Like, that's just a tough lineup to bank against. First base. We listed off like 45 first basemen this morning. Those all still exist here. I mean, you tell me. What do we think at first base? Are we just plugging in the Coors Sacramento Tampa Bay game, or like what are we doing?
You know what I had for lunch today, John? No. Chicken and rice.
Okay. My computer's frozen. I can't click on anything, so you just let me know what's going on.
That's how I felt about when I said what I said. Yeah, look, I love Ben Rice in this spot today. And that's going to be, you had said, you started the show with basically talking about a theme for our show today. Yeah. The Yankees are one of the themes. Ben Rice against right-handed pitching this year, 325 ISO, 434 WOBA, gets a pitcher in Osvaldo Bido, who's allowed a 224 ISO, expected ISO to lefties 282, expected WOBA to lefties 353, Guy almost allows 3 home runs per 9 innings at his home ballpark. It's really bad. I don't know if you've looked at this either. Osvaldo Bido's fly ball rate to lefties 60%. There is nothing he has to offer the Yankees tonight. So as much as I love Shohei and Freeman and Alonso and Harper, you play any of them. Wouldn't play Luis Arraez at 5K. That's criminal. And I said it yesterday, and I stick to my guns. I wouldn't play him at Williamsport if he was in a little league stadium at 5K, which he's basically in. Michael Busch, sure. Ben Rice, better than all of them in the park that he's in.
Sure.
And like Vladdy looks great. You could play Sheets. I don't know why you would when Vladdy, Rice, and Soderstrom all surround him.
Yep.
But I think first in this like low, like below 5K is definitely the route that I want to go today.
Yeah, I agree. Again, Yankees are among my favorite teams, obviously on the entire slate. You can get to, some value plays and make them all fit in. And if you're not double spending at the pitcher position, go in the mid and value range, you have infinite dollars to get there. Yandy Diaz is currently your projected highest roster first baseman.
It's the eligibility.
Yeah, I guess so. First and third. Paul Goldschmidt's right under him. I mean, the Yankees have a guy hitting 400, and they have a guy with a 500 batting average and balls in play on their team, and that's Paul Goldschmidt. Eventually, that will stop, but for now, it's not. And he's $4,100. Very likely homers today. Good. I mean, we're talking about a guy with a 50% fly ball rate.
Yep, I think that's the low. That's a low number too. Less to righties, but like there's like a 60% fly ball rate to lefties.
Yeah,
it's like 40, only 45 to righties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, Goldie at 41. If you need to save the $700 on Rice, totally good with that play. Obviously, there's a bit more game power right now with Rice, obviously, but also a lot of strike. I mean, like Goldschmidt's just putting the ball in play all the time. Tolia versus Vasquez. We mentioned all of the lefty stats yesterday against Randy Vasquez. Tolia has immense power. Don't know if necessarily we're going to go to Michael Tolia today. The Rockies offense is the least appealing of the teams in that 3-game window. But
can I just bring up, like, even the Vasquez, like, some of the expected stuff is just...
Yes, horrific.
So, 2 lefties. Do you want to guess his strikeout rate?
17%.
Lower.
14%.
Lower.
10%.
I can't believe you're even doing that. I can't believe you even started there. Lower.
10%.
Lower.
8%.
Lower.
3%.
Slightly lower.
2%.
Slightly higher.
All right.
2.5.
Okay.
2.5% strikeout rate. 2 lefties this year. He has a 104 ISO, 277 expected ISO to left-handed batters. I think Michael Tolia hits a home run. Because if you can't strike him out, what do you got? You got a guy who has a ton of power, right? Against a guy who, if Michael Tolia strikes out against Randy Vasquez, then Michael Tolia needs to reevaluate his life.
I would agree with you.
2.5% strikeout rate against lefties this year. 300 pitches thrown, 2.5%. That is criminal. So I do think that there is some upside to Tolia. I know I don't disagree with you. I even wish he was a little cheaper, but it's kind of interesting.
Agreed. Pascantino 3,300 is kind of just too cheap with the way that Kansas City offense is starting to roll around here.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this isn't a spot to play Miami because of everything else, but Wagner versus Bryce Wilson's $3,200. Is there another? I thought that Kurtz, right? It is. Kurtz is 3K.
Yep.
So
yep,
we go there. Yeah, Mark, 2.5%.
Dude, it's a real number. 2.5. John started at 17.
I did.
Knowing that he has 3x the walks to strikeouts, that's criminal.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's true. It's true. I don't know why I started so high when it was like K per 9's like 3.5. So, anyways, second base. Again, a lot to spend up for, but I said on the show we both agreed. We did actually get 3 6K outfielders in our lineup, and that was because we played a $2,500 Hyesung Kim. We don't know if he's going to be in the lineup today. He's played every day so far. It is a lefty-lefty. But if he's in the lineup, I'm just going to plug him as a punt. You're in a Dodgers lineup in a good hitter's park with some speed. Even if he goes over for 4 at $2,500, that's fine. Like, I am fine with that.
That is a contrarian punt because the whole field's playing Jorbit Bibas.
Yeah.
At 2,300.
Which also makes sense, right? Getting that game.
Yep.
He's also less exciting.
Kim is for sure the better player. No, undoubtedly the better player. Right. But one's Erod and one gets Beto, right?
That's
so
true.
Like it's the product of the Beto matchup.
I mean, honestly, it makes it easy, truthfully, because you plug in Kim, and if he's not in the lineup, then you just pivot down to Vivas, and you're
because it's the 10 p.m. So
10 p.m. window. So you're good just to plug and build that way. Obviously, if you wanted to spend up, there are options. Bregman has been really good. Sasaki's been bad. If you wanted to trust Cattell, Polanco from the left side's been great at 49. Bryson Stott versus Gavin Williams. Bryce Terang against Zach Littell. Like, there's plenty of spend up spots, but we want to spend up at other positions. So, haven't really found myself getting there.
This is not the spot. And if you want to be different, if you're building multiple lineups, MME, spend up. If not,
Jake Cronenworth in your lineup today.
Yeah, he's back. Like, it's fine. He was fine before the injury. 4,400. That's like the cheapest Padre you'll find.
They paid this guy off a 1 year, and he just hasn't
been good at all.
Been that good again.
Yeah, they both. Yeah, it's Padres pay a lot of people a lot of money.
Grande, thoughts on the BVP numbers for Yaz and Flores?
Two of my absolute favorite plays of the night. I just can't wait to get them into my lineups, and I'm the most exposure I'm going to have to any two singular players all year long.
Don't do Samson like that.
Samson, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. I can't.
Now I have to see what
I cannot stand BVP.
What do you think the sample size is here on BVP?
Chris Paddock.
Oh no,
it's got to be 6 at bats. I mean, Chris Paddock's pitched like for 5 years.
So here's the deal.
In San Diego.
Here's the deal. The numbers are really good, but we're talking about 12 at bats and 15 at bats. Wilmer's 6 for 12 with 2 homers. Yaz is 7 for 15 with 2 homers. So
I don't care.
Those are definitely good BVP numbers.
I'm happy for both of them, honestly. I hope it brings them great
joy. You do a little
joy.
Yaz, Wilmer, Lee stack today? Get your Giants in Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean, just really just fires me up inside. just great urge to play the Giants and take up possibly 2 of my outfield spots that could be filled with Tatis, Merrill, and Aaron Judge. No, Samson, I'm doing you wrong. I'm sorry. Your BVP is not my thing.
BVP should be like the last decision choice you make when it comes to deciding between players. That's how we feel. There are people out there that do buy into the BVP, and sometimes it's not necessarily the BVP. It's that like one guy hits breaking balls really well and Paddock's throwing like 45% breaking balls, so therefore he hits Paddock well. That's more so what it is as opposed to the actual batter versus pitcher matchup necessarily. But on this slate, it feels hard to get to the Giants offense in Minnesota when there's 3 games in the best 3 offensive parks in baseball pretty much tonight. With a lot of talent, some really bad pitchers on the mound, the over-unders of 10.5 in these games. So, but you can. No one's going to – I don't imagine anybody's playing Giants today. So you want to be a little different. You want to get a one-off Yaz or a one-off Wilmer today? You can. Obviously, Flores is, first and third, so you're kind of taking out some plays there. But
John, it's 90 degrees at Sutter Health tonight.
Yeah.
It is 75 and sunny in Coors, and it's 85 degrees in Tampa.
I know.
I know what you're such a nice guy.
I'm just trying to explain it.
I know. It's just the Chris Paddock peripheral stats really stink. So if you want to play Giants, he
I
has
tried
really
pitching Chris
bad
Paddock.
numbers.
I was like, nah, it can't be that bad. He was horrific.
No, it's bad. His peripherals
Really,
are really
really
bad. Really bad.
So again, tournament Samson, if you're playing 3 lineups or something like that, you want to sprinkle in some Giants today as an alt play.
Yep.
Totally cool with it. There are just obviously better games on the board that I think we can look at here today.
Agreed.
Anything else at second for you?
Anything else at second? I'm out. Click the outfield. I don't know.
You're just waiting to talk about Jackson Merrill. So
are you not?
Cover of the playbook, Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, I mean, Schneemann hitting second tonight is hilarious. Brooksley is hitting fourth. You mentioned that atop the program, and I do think there is like punty options like Curtis Mead and Bebos that, and for all those that don't know who Bebos is, it's Jorbit Vivas. It's actually Jorbit Bebos. That's why I keep saying that. So all those punts are probably and Kim. That's the direction I'd want to go because outfield is so stacked. It's just so stacked.
Third base again. Manny Machado is $5,700 against Antonio Senzatella. Antonio Senzatella, Grande. What did I say on the previous show? It's like the other day, 7+ hits, plus 130. I said if that number's there again, we're slamming it. We're betting it live. No, it is minus 155 on the 7+ hits today, and DraftKings won't even let you go higher to get the plus odds. You can't even go like 8+ hits to maybe get like a plus 100. Nope. Minus 155 to give up at least 7 hits today for Antonio Senzatella. His expected ERA is over 7 on the year for Antonio Senzatella. If you can find it in your hearts to get Manny Machado in your lineup today, I think that's where I want to find myself going as a spend up. There again, this would mean you're spending down at catcher, you're spending down at second base. You might even only be able to do 1 mid-tier and have to do 1 spend down at pitcher to get a 57 Machado and 2 spend up outfielders. But Machado just feels like a really good spot to be today.
It's a great spot. I think you can make a case for any Padre other than paying $5,000 for Luis Arraez, which is going to bite me so badly. But
he ripped 2 infield singles for RBI.
Rips infield singles. 73 mile per hour off the bat.
Yeah, -8.
Launch angle.
Yeah. Scan cast is going to show a deep ball to the shortstop that he beats out for an RBI.
Yeah, they're going to be shifted over a little bit. He's going to hit a dribbler down the third base.
He's not even fast. He's actually like average speed. So.
Yeah, it's not. Machado looks.
Who was the Padre that used to get pinch run for all the time that we played? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like a couple years ago.
Padre that used to get pinch run for all the time.
Yeah, there was like a Padre, or maybe he's just in our lineup and he used to get pinch hit for a lot. Mark's in the chat. He might remember. He's got a solid trap memory. He pays attention to things. I never do. But there was a Padre. Pretty sure it was a Padre. Now I'm second guessing myself. Pretty sure it was a Padre that we used to play that he would almost always get like taken out of games late in games. Was it Profar? Did Profar used to get taken out of games?
Maybe. I mean, last year, all I remember is last year's Profar because he was on steroids and he was great.
Yeah. There was a Padre a few years ago. We've been doing this for so long. It could be 8 years ago, but like feels like yesterday that there was a Padre used to play that used to get like taken out late in games. All right. Anyway, sidetracked. Manny Machado, great. Rafael Devers is in the lineup today.
He's also been great.
I think maybe he's motivated. I don't know. Profar got a pinch hit at the end of games all last year.
Last year? He had like 700 at bats last year, didn't he?
Yeah, for Azakar for defense or something like that. So, anyways. So after our rant yesterday on the previous show about all the Devers talk, there were some members, Hispanic members of Red Sox Nation that were translating the quotes and basically saying that the Red Sox translator was screwing Devers and wasn't properly translating what he was saying necessarily and made it come out way worse.
Was he a plant? Was he planted by the Sox?
I don't know.
Drama.
So Red Sox Twitter that is of like Hispanic descent was like, no, Devers says like, it's a difficult position to learn right away. Like it would take me some time. I can't do it overnight, yada, yada, yada. So there's some controversy going on today as to exactly what Devers said and didn't say. Anyways, he is playing, so the team didn't bench him after what he said. So who knows? Michael Garcia has been awesome. He's $4,500. You can go there. The aforementioned Wilmer Flores is $4K. Junior Caminero at $3,900. If you're not going Quintana, you have that spot for you. Andujar versus Will Warren, if he's in the lineup, set some power. We had a Brett Beatty question hitting 6 tonight against Tyon. Beatty goes down to AAA and rakes. Gets called back up, can't hit anything. So I don't know.
If you want to punt the position, sure. 2,600 is cheap, but like.
And then Emmanuel Rivera was the other comment we had. Rivera was good versus lefties a few years ago.
Yeah. I mean, he's just been what he's been for the last couple of years.
No power in his bat whatsoever.
No.
But again, if you're opting to not spend up at third because you're spending up elsewhere, sure. Yeah. I'd rather play Jonathan India at 32.
Yeah, that's basically what I was gonna say. I think India looks great at like a cheap enough price tag. Brooks Lee, second, third, looks great. Ryan McMahon, 3,700. We've already talked upon Randy Vasquez's inability to strike people out. Like it's just all that stuff. I would rather take a shot on than play. And everyone's getting Deswaldo Cabrera. We had talked about this last night. Like he's not a bad player. He's obviously going through a terrible stretch at the plate. Yeah. And maybe Osvaldo Bido solves that for him, because Osvaldo Bido is another guy who he has a sub 10% striker rate to lefties this year.
Yeah.
Or no, sub 10% to righties rather. Sorry. So 20% to lefties is actually not great for Cabrera, but I'd understand that too. I'd probably even play that before I played Rivera as well.
Sure. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Shortstop. A little delay there. Bobby Witt's 59. Mookie versus a lefty used to be a thing. Probably still can be a thing. Just a little slow of a season for Mookie Betts. Coming around a little bit.
He's been better.
Coming around. Lindor versus Tyon, Trey Turner versus Gavin Williams, Gunnar versus Hendricks. If you get to any of them, that's fine. They're all elite caliber players.
Dude, the Orioles are getting a ton of ownership, by the way. Gunnar is getting a boatload of ownership. And
because Hendricks is supposed to suck, and Baltimore's actually really good versus righties from a Fangraph statistical standpoint. They're going to throw a whole bunch of lefties at Hendricks today.
The splits are kind of crazy for Kyle Hendricks because lefties are doing nothing against him.
And 2 years ago, it was horrific, right?
Righties are crushing him. Not to say the expected numbers don't look – the expected stuff looks better, but expected 131 ISO to lefties?
Yeah.
131 isn't good for expected 321 WOBA for lefties. Like, that's fine. But that's not like gotta sack Orioles fine, right? Like, it's the righties that have had way more success and way more expected success. So, like, I'm not saying they can't be good. It's a great ballpark to hit home runs in, and, that's what we need in DFS. You need home runs. But, like, for Gunnar Henderson to basically be 2x every other shortstop and it's not I don't think it's a great position today because although it's very good, like in terms of top heavy talent, it's hard to get to a lot of them when you want to spend up on the outfield. And that's like what I just keep saying, but I'm going to be doing. So like, I get it, but man, for Gunnar to be getting that much more ownership than everyone else is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. Mid-range for us here. I mean, you obviously have Wilson and Volpe in that mid-tier, 43, 42. Is that just the obvious mid options for us?
Wilson, Volpe, yeah. Wilson, especially, I don't think we've gotten A's lineup yet. We haven't. And so
I have to assume they've just realized they need a 340 hitter
contact,
at the top of their
contact
lineup.
Hitter, yeah.
Yeah. I also don't know if you can hear my computer right now. It is fanning pretty hard, so
Close all the Fangraphs tabs.
I feel like I'm lagging a little bit here, so I apologize if that ends up being the case. For the last 45 seconds, I was only looking at a black computer screen, so we'll do our best. It's what I get for looking at Matthew Lugo stats, because I guess the Angels just called him up today, hitting 212 with 50 strikeouts and at bats in AAA today. So good job, Angels, developing your prospects. Anything else at shortstop? I guess after we get past the Volpe Wilson tier.
Story, Adames, Crawford, Bichette, all those guys look pretty good.
Adames first right-handed pitching.
Yeah, I mean we've said that forever. He is legit against right-handed pitching. He's obviously been a lot better lately.
Yeah, I don't even think I included a value shortstop in my playbook today.
There's not any. There's not any.
Do you have projections for Hunter Brown? Says his last 3 starts has 9 Ks. I mean, Hunter Brown has been fantastic. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. So
yeah, his last 3 starts, he has had 9 Ks. That's correct.
That is very impressive. He is a very impressive starting pitcher.
He's had
since the second half of last year.
Yeah, he's 7 or more in 507 this year. I mean, he's just been really good.
Yep. All right, let's get to the fun spot.
Yep.
How do you afford all of these outfielders? You
don't
can play 4 of them on FanDuel, so there's a plus there.
Yeah, I don't think you can. But I think playing 2 of them is the move, because all 3 of Tatis, Judge, Merrill are in the top 5 of ownership for outfield. Merrill being the lowest owned. I think Merrill looks better than Tatis, but there's no wrong answer there. Obviously, Tatis is elite. I think Judge has as much upside as anyone, but Beto doesn't strike anyone out. Gives up home runs in bunches at his ballpark. As long as the Yankees dodge Mason Miller, it's a pretty subpar bullpen as well. So, I have a hard time not spending up to 2 of them. I don't think there's a way you get 3 unless you're going the Gavin Williams Sugano route.
Yeah.
Pairing them, or Nola Sugano or Nola Will Warren type stack pitcher. But yeah, I mean it's a hard. I don't think there's a wrong answer at 6K, but I do think I just rank Tatis, Merrill, and Judge above everyone else pretty comfortably. And that's we're at a position with Shohei Ohtani, who's the greatest thing anyone's ever seen. So I'm not trying to slight him, or Tucker, how good he's been, or Corbin Carroll, how elite he's been.
Yeah.
But one of them's facing Antonio Senzatella in Coors. 2 of them. The other one is in a minor league ballpark that the owner couldn't wait to see.
A's lineup is out. Jacob Wilson is leading off again. Soderstrom hitting second.
So they went back to that same lineup they had the other day. Rooker, Langoliers, Blade. Rooker, Langoliers. No, something's missing from there. Rooker, Langoliers. I thought they hit Rooker 4th.
They moved Butler down to 7th.
Yeah. Urias 8th, Kurtz 9. And what am we missing there? Maybe nothing. Maybe I'm just...
they probably just reordered.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I think that lineup looks good. Andujar getting third base eligibility is also nice, by the way. Yeah, it's a good looking lineup. So, yeah, I just think it's hard for me not to play 2 of these guys between Tatis, Judge, and Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, I am. I'm fully on board with you. I think they're all super elite. And again, anybody from 5K up, honestly, is elite. Soto at 52 obviously makes a lot of sense. If you wanted to go there, Sedmo feels expensive, but if you're against Hendricks, sure. PCA, Soderstrom 46, Lee's 46 here. I really like Stowers at 45. If you want to just randomly one off a Miami play, that makes a lot of sense. Trent Grisham is $4,500 against Beto. Doyle is 44. Like, pick this. These are the 3 games we want, and you can get 9, 10 outfielders basically out of that. So.
Yeah, Soderstrom 46 first base outfield. That's too cheap. And then like even going further down, $100. Lawrence Butler 44, Bellinger 44. There's just like endless good options. Endless good options. I mean, Dominguez 39 when you start dropping below the 4K range. It doesn't stop. It does not stop.
Does not stop. Nope. All right. What's your like favorite value then, I guess, before we build a lineup here?
I mean, Dominguez 39. I like Moniak 33. I don't hate Taylor Ward 33. I like India. We talked about him. He's easy to get to. Martini, the lefty against Randy Vasquez, looks pretty good. Ramon Laureano has been really good against righties, and Kyle Hendricks has been really bad against righties. So I don't hate him. Outman probably not in the lineup tonight. So, yeah.
Sure. All right. Let's figure out what we're going to do. All right. Let's start with Merrill Judge. Is that what we try to do here?
Yeah. I think that's the route.
And then we'll go Hasan first, and we'll go to Yorvit if it's
Yep. That's a good approach.
All right, let's get the extra $200 there. Catcher, do we just do Furman 24?
Yeah.
All right. And then we go Nola and what? Question of the day. Nola and
who was your favorite when you did the playbook over at fantasyalarm.com that you guys could get for a 7-day free trial right now? Scan that QR code. Who is your favorite?
I plugged Sagano in.
Okay. And
that gives us plenty of money to really build what we wanted to. So if you have like Grisham,
Rice.
I mean, yeah.
Or you want Machado at third. So get Machado, right? You'd rather play Machado at third.
Yeah, I like Machado. And then shortstop.
That gives us a good salary.
Shortstop didn't really have any.
It's Crawford. Crawford probably the lowest down we'd go.
Right.
That puts us right under Goldschmidt.
I mean, would you just punt at Farmer at 29? Just because it's Vasquez and see if he can get on base? Like, I don't know.
We are farmers. Bum.
It says 3,600. What did we have? We did Goldschmidt 31. 31 is, I mean,
if you want to do it, just do it, brother.
I mean, just to click the button. I mean, like
just to click the button.
Just to click the button. I don't know. Right, and that gives you $200 left over. Nola, Sagano, Furman, Goldschmidt, Kim, Machado, Farmer, Judge, Merrill, Grisham, and obviously if like Kim's not playing and your V it is, you just go down to that and make it work.
My man B-Boss, hell yeah, 2,300. You love to see it.
So make it work. Make it work for you. But we want Yankees. We want Padres. You know, get a one-off course on the way back. I mean, Kyle Farmer gets under 1 year. You never know. So that's an example. Look, guys, in tournaments, Warren, in which New York outfielder would you fade?
Oh God,
probably fading Belly, even though he's been.
It's tough. I mean, lefties have had more success against Osvaldo Bido, but obviously Judge has the highest ceiling. So it's just it's really hard to, I don't know. I guess I'll defer to what John said and say Bellinger, but I don't feel good about it.
No, I mean, yeah, I don't, it's not my favorite choice, but Grisham's been so good.
and Judge, and also Judge.
All right. So I flip a coin. Maybe there's no real wrong answer there.
And if you need the salary, answer is D, Jason Dominguez, if he's in the lineup.
Yeah. It's probably true. All right, guys, appreciate you all. Got to go update the ownership and the FanDuel grid for you all. Till then, good luck this weekend. We'll catch you with the preview show on Sunday. We'll see you then.